There is a particular image from South Korean television that captures something no television broadcast manual has a protocol for. A coach sitting at a post-match press conference, speaking into a microphone, answering questions about a defeat that has just ended his country's World Cup. A standard scene, one that happens multiple times at every tournament. Except that on this occasion, the Korean Broadcasting System, one of the country's most watched public networks, made a specific editorial decision. They blurred his face. Not obscured the camera angle, not cut away. Blurred. The face of the South Korea national team head coach during his own press conference on live Korean television was pixelated so that viewers could not see it clearly. That decision tells you more about the mood in South Korea following Hong Myung-bo's second group stage exit as national team manager than any post-match statistic could. The country's anger was not simply disappointment. It was the kind of institutional fury that demands visible accountability. And within less than 24 hours of South Korea's elimination being confirmed on Saturday, when Congo's win over Uzbekistan ended their hopes of advancing as one of the best third-place teams, Hong stood in front of the cameras in Guadalajara and read from a prepared statement. He apologized. He took responsibility. He said he was stepping down. The World Cup's first managerial casualty had arrived, and the circumstances surrounding it are layered enough to deserve serious examination. So what's really happening here? And what does South Korea's exit and everything that followed it tell us about the pressure that exists around national football programs at a tournament of this scale? Let's start with the football, because before the resignation and the blurred face and the presidential statement, there was a group stage that began with genuine promise and then unraveled in two consecutive 1-0 defeats. South Korea opened their 2026 World Cup in Group A with a 2-1 victory over the Czech Republic. It was a controlled performance. Hwang In-bom scored twice, including a goal of genuine quality in the comeback win against Czechia that many observers described as one of the performances of the tournament's opening round. It looked, for a brief moment, like the foundation for something meaningful. South Korea winning their opening match with quality on the counter, with Hwang announcing himself on the World Cup stage. Then came Mexico, a 1-0 defeat. South Korea's defense, which had been organized enough against Czechia, was exploited through a combination of pressure and the particular directness that Mexico bring on home soil. The defeat was not catastrophic in terms of the group picture, but it changed the mathematics. A win over South Africa in the third match would likely have been enough. What happened instead was another 1-0 defeat. South Africa, the team that had been stranded on a runway in Johannesburg 11 days before the tournament, the team that had played the opening match at the Azteca and finished with 9 men, produced a disciplined, organized performance and scored through a set piece. South Korea failed to convert their chances. The tournament was over. Their final record was 1 win, 2 losses, 3 goals scored, 3 conceded. They finished third in Group A and waited for the other groups to complete their final match days, hoping to qualify as one of the 8 best third-place teams. That hope ended when Congo defeated Uzbekistan on Saturday. South Korea's points total was not sufficient. They are going home. Here's the interesting part. Because Hong Myung-bo's resignation would be, in isolation, a fairly standard managerial departure following a disappointing tournament exit. These things happen. Coaches leave, federations reassess, the cycle continues. What makes this case different and considerably more significant is everything surrounding the football, starting with the man himself. Hong Myung-bo is not simply a former coach, he is one of the greatest defenders in the history of South Korean football. He captained the country to the semifinals at the 2002 World Cup, the joint-hosted tournament in Japan and South Korea, the one that produced one of the most remarkable national team runs in the history of the competition. He won the bronze medal in 2002. He played in 4 consecutive World Cups from 1990 to 2002, appearing in 16 matches across those 4 tournaments. He is part of the foundational story of South Korean football's golden generation. His playing career earned him a level of respect in the country that went far beyond football fandom. He first became national team manager in 2014. South Korea went winless in Brazil and he resigned. Now, 12 years later, history has repeated itself. Appointed again in 2024 to replace Jurgen Klinsmann following South Korea's elimination from the Asia Cup quarterfinals, he took the job under controversy from the very beginning, with questions raised about whether the appointment was based on merit or on his legacy status within Korean football. He resigned again this morning in Guadalajara, in a press conference from which he did not take a single question after reading his prepared statement. He said he was deeply apologetic to the Korean public. He said taking the job was never an easy choice. He said his only focus from the moment he accepted it was to fulfill his duties responsibly until the end. Now, this is where things change, because the response from South Korea's president was not the measured political statement of a head of government expressing disappointment at a sporting result. It was pointed, direct, and personal, in a way that is notable even in the context of South Korean political culture, where football and national pride are deeply intertwined. The president said, as a former honorary professional football club chairman and at heart a member of the Red Devils, that he felt not just surprise, but deep bewilderment at the unexpected result. He said once again it has been proven that personnel decisions determine everything. And then he said something that goes beyond the comment on a football coach. He said if loyalty and factionalism are valued over competence and an incapable person is appointed as a leader, the outcome is as predictable as fire burning paper. He called Hong Myung-bo incapable, on the record, as the country's head of state. He then ordered the Ministry of Culture, Sports, and Tourism to meticulously address the precise circumstances of this incident, analyze its causes, and develop thorough measures for prevention. Prevention, not just investigation. A structural overhaul ordered at the highest governmental level, triggered by two 1-0 defeats at a World Cup.
Think about what this means in the context of the 2002 Shadow. That tournament, co-hosted with Japan, reaching the semifinals, the bronze medal match, is the defining moment of South Korean football's modern history. Every national team since 2002 has been measured against what goose-hitting side achieved in front of their own supporters in that extraordinary run. Korea Republic, as they are formally known in international football, have gone out in the group stage in 3 of the 4 World Cups since then. The 2022 exception, when they advanced from a group including Ghana, Uruguay, and Portugal before losing 4-1 to Brazil in the round of 16, only sharpened the disappointment when the exits came. Son Heung-min, who captained this team and who represented in many ways the best South Korean player since the 2002 generation, reached the World Cup with the deepest squad his country has had in years, and they still went home in the group stage. The bigger issue underneath all of this is whether a government investigation, however thorough, however well-intentioned, is the appropriate institutional response to a football program that is struggling to find its level. These are genuinely difficult questions. Hong Myung-bo made tactical decisions during this tournament that were questioned. His selection choices, his substitution patterns in the defeats to Mexico and South Africa, his inability to organize a team to convert their chances when results demanded it. These are legitimate football criticisms from people who watch the matches carefully. Whether they constitute the kind of institutional failure that requires a government ministry to investigate is a different question entirely. Football is not a government program in the way that healthcare or infrastructure are government programs. Managers make decisions, some of which work and some of which don't, and the outcomes are determined by a combination of preparation, quality, tactics, and the specific events of 90 minutes. The 2002 semifinal was not produced by a government investigation. It was produced by a world-class manager in Hiddink, a golden generation of players who happened to peak simultaneously, home support of extraordinary intensity, and results that still surprise historians of the game. Investigating why that specific combination has not recurred 24 years later is not obviously within the competence of the Ministry of Culture, Sports, and Tourism. What the Korean Football Association does next matters considerably. The investigation will examine the appointment process that led to Hong's second tenure, and whether the concerns raised at the time of his hiring about whether his selection was based on merit or legacy were addressed adequately. Whether it produces structural changes that strengthen the Federation's technical processes, or simply generates a report that is filed and forgotten after the political temperature cools, will determine whether this exit produces something lasting or simply claims its coaching victim and moves on.
The 2027 AFC Asian Cup provides the next competitive marker. South Korea are a significant enough force in Asian football that they will be expected to perform there regardless of the coaching transition. Who the federation appoints matters. Whether the appointment process is transparent and merit-based, as the president's pointed remarks demand, matters. Whether the lessons of two group stage exits under the same manager, separated by 12 years, but strikingly similar in their tactical pattern of close losses, are genuinely absorbed into the way the national program is structured, matters. What do you think? Does South Korea's response, the resigned coach, the presidential condemnation, the government investigation, feel proportionate to a group stage exit at a World Cup? Or does the weight of the 2002 legacy and the expectations it creates for every South Korean squad sense make this kind of reaction inevitable regardless of the circumstances? If you found this worth your time, a like helps more than you think. Subscribe if you enjoy thoughtful football coverage, and let me know your view in the comments. I read every one.